Quite a many participants are here, and we shall start with a warm welcome to this wonderful audience, and of course, our expert for the session, Ms. Kuntal Bhandare. I'm Ruchira Banka. I'm the director at Art Journal Foundation. Art Journal Foundation is an organization by teachers, of teachers, and for teachers that aims to create a research platform for learners across all age groups. And I would like to thank you all for being a part of this journey of learning with us. Today, we are going to discuss the extended essay, knowing the criteria and the process, and how can we provide guidance as supervisors. And to take us through this journey is none other than our expert, Ms. Kuntal Bhandare. Ms. Kuntal has 20 years of experience as a librarian, 6 years as an extended essay coordinator. She is one of the founder members of the Librarian Group and the core members of the International Collaboration of Extended Essay Group. She is an examiner for World Studies Extended Essay and holds a master's degree in library sciences, is a passionate librarian working towards upskilling librarians through the Librarian Association. Ms. Kuntal has led multiple webinars and workshops at the Art Journal Foundation, and I'm sure some of you have been a part of these in the past as well. It's always a pleasure to learn with her, and without any further ado, I hand over the stage to Ms. Kuntal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchira. Thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure to be with our Journal Foundation. Yes, we will go on the journey of extended essay, even if you have attended my sessions before. And if you're attending now, it's just rephrasing ourselves. Extended essay, whatever you do, whichever you do not, like it's always less. I need not go because Ruchira has given a lovely introduction over here. Thank you for that. So today it's 1 hour, nothing. It's only topic RQ that we can do in an hour. That also it's a struggle. But I'll try to run through this journey of extended essay for group 6 because I've been working very closely with my group 6 teachers, whether it's visual art, whether it's theater, whether it's music. This year, my school, we had 3 music EEs, we had 4 visual art EE, we had 4 theater EE. So I always feel that there is a good pull among this subjects for EE. So what is, and I think this may be our second last webinar for our new guide, for our old guide with our new batch of 2027, present grade 10 going into grade 11, the guide is changing. So for that, we'll soon meet you all for that. But for now, introduction to group E through website. Now, the most important thing of EE is the EE website. I always think that making presentations do work, but then what is our base is our website. Just a second. So this is the website. If you know your website very well, it would be great. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to know the EE. And our new EE, which is coming up, they have made a lovely website, very user-friendly, very good. So please put a habit of bookmarking the extended essay website because that's one thing which will help. Just give me a second. I'll open the website for you. And I have my own website. Unfortunately, after a month or I'm started working on the new guide also. But yes, let me just share the present extended essay IB website. I'll just stop share this. You may be familiar with it. Yes, you all are familiar with it, but I think it's very, that's one thing that we really need to keep in mind. Now, what is, just a second, this is a little bit struggle for me after, can you see the website or can you see the PPT? I'm a bit confused over here.
Yeah, it was visible.
It was visible? Yes. Okay. I will run through. I have my PPT, which if want will be shared with you all if the Art Journal Foundation permits. Otherwise, yes, it is this website. You know that it is one place to go and bookmark it. We go to subject-specific guidance over here and in practice. And here we have the arts. So when we say that the art subject-specific guidance, before the very first thing that IB is giving over here is what is a art subject-specific guidance. Taking the art as an overall component, not considering, not taking into place the different components of art, because many of you may have film also as a subject in which the art, it's included in the art. So here we are talking about what is art and how it should be taken into, how should be the research question go into. If you see this blue link, arts and introduction, keep this with you. This one document, I'll just again lead you this from the website. This is one document which we should be having, where it gives the whole process of selection, how to do a literature review, what is a research question, what are research methods, the framework for EE in arts. It's a document that we all should be saving for our future use till we are using this guide, the new guide. So this is one thing which comes from the website. So what is a art EE? When we talk about the extended essay in art, going back to my PPT, just a second. I think yes. I hope the PPT is viewable. Please help me out over here because I can't
Not
get.
yet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here is where we go one by one with the art. And okay, first, rather than giving you different, how many of you, if you in comments can put that what subject do you take, it would be great, whether you're visual art, whether you're dance, film, or so that it becomes a little easy for us also to know. So just a second. I think it's good the way around. Yes. So we start with a visual art extended essay. You know, I have worked very closely with the visual art extended essay. What we'll do in this 1 hour is very quickly, I'll run you through these different art forms. I know you may be expert in it. You would be a person who would be doing a visual art. I mean, you would be one who would be doing visual art. You must have referred to the guide. But just a touch base for people who are new, let me take you to this guide and let me just touch base upon what are these components. You know, the visual art EE, the visual art EE is one which has been a lot of, I mean, in demand. It includes architecture, design, and contemporary form of visual culture. If you're a visual art teacher, you'll be aware. Yeah, I mean, visual culture is when they talk about any visual type of a culture. So photography would be a part of a visual culture from the point of view of visual art. The outcome of the research should be coherent and structured piece of writing. The biggest thing that I've seen in visual art, working with so many from past so many years, the basic thing student is getting in comparison. I agree that yes, the comparison of an artist goes well, or I mean that's the most common thing that student want to go, but make your student explore. So first thing, when the student approaches a teacher with of a particular subject that I want to do this, the first activity that you do with your student is ask them different type of questions and different type of their interest area and passion in art. Do not just go by very first. Spend a good time with your students about what type of artist they are looking into. Is it contemporary? Are they doing, they what type, in what thing in art would they like to do? Because the guide very clearly mentions about a well integrated and illustrated approach to an extended essay. It is saying that the students' experience of creating visual artwork or by their interest in the work of particular artist, style, or period. This might be related by students' own cultural context and another cultural context. So I mean, please talk to your students about their interest, and then personal contact with artists, curator, and active participation in visual art is encouraged. So when we look at the data, visual art is a combination of a primary and secondary data. If you have a contemporary artist, if there are local sources available, if there are museums where you can, where the students can visit or connect to the artist, please encourage that. So there is a good combination of primary and secondary source. Okay, so next is dance and film. Yes, very few schools I have seen that there is a dance as a group 6 subject being given. But yes, if a student is doing into a dance, please see that it is they are enrolled in a diploma dance course, and they just can't do it because they are passionate about dance. There should be an enrollment in diploma program dance course. The essay should it should It requires a lot of personal point of view with a reasoning argument. An essay focuses on an expressive movement, purpose, forms of communication through body and gesture of a dancer. Films also, many schools do have extended essays in films, and there is a subject which do students take in group 6. Here there is, you have to be very mindful about a very fine line between extended essay in English group 3, which also has film analysis, but this EE is about that you have here the student needs to understand the film text, like me tell stories, create emotional responses, and give information. So in spirit of intercultural understanding, students are engaged to explore film in an international context. This is what is to be kept in mind when you're talking to your students about your EE. So this is where the guide comes in for your savior, each subject specific guide. Music. Music again, yes, a very known subject. Many high school also. uh, I'm from Oberoi International JVLR, and I was before in Ecole Mondial. But both these schools, I've seen that music, theater, and visual art was really, really a great pull of EE. And lovely EEs did come up. So last year we got an A in music, and it was a lovely EE which was done. So, what are the things that in music that you look into as a form of expression in diverse contact with intent, purpose, and meaning? Should be at the heart of essay. It must focus on a particular pieces of music experienced by students through recording, score study, and performances and concerts. The student is required to embark on a systematic discipline and imaginative investigation of musical work. So here the base of investigation for EE is the musical analysis. So you have to be very mindful when you are talking to students about these are the pointers which should be there in front of you before you actually talk to students. So from the group, I really feel that there are a lot of visual art teachers here today. So yes, I'll be talking about it, but yes, because this is group 6 and group 6 involves all this. Theta, a lovely ease do come up in theta. There is an independent research into topic. There are a range of skills that are imaginative and critical way. Critical thinking gets involved. There is lot of contemporary theater, comparative theater, practical art form of theater involved in the theater EE. So these are what we look into the extended essay as a subject specific work. So here, yes, these are the criterions which we always look forward for. I'm been checking extended essays right now. Extended essays are, I'm a world studies examiner. And when I'm checking EEs, yes, content does matter. But IB is practically looking at these criterion. So when I say criteria A, focus and method, topic, research, question, methodology, criteria B, knowledge and understanding, where you understand the context and a subject specific terminology. Criteria C is a student does a research, analyze that research and presents that research in a form of discussion and evaluation throughout the essay. Criteria D, we are always told as an examiner to be very mindful of not cutting much grades in criteria D, because it's assumed that criteria D would be a very strong and where because it's a format. Criterion E is engagement, which is our RPPF, focus research and process and research focus. So just going ahead with this, I will take you one by the criterions and with the focus and method, how to go with topic and RQ. I'll just yeah, give me a minute. Yes. Here we go. It's always a struggle after a long time when you do. Yeah, so these are basically what they are looking at. The assessment of an extent is when we talk about formative and summative, IB is the reflections, like two things in E, which is formative is RPPF and summative is the extended essay itself. These are assessment criteria. Task is an open-ended. Each criterion concentrates on a particular skill. There are mark bands which you have to be mindful of. And you have to be, I mean, you have to look into the analytical mark schemes also. This all, again share, this all would come from, just a second. This all will come from knowing the criteria, and we'll take one by one each criteria. Here, I will take a little bit of privilege to share my website, and you can please feel free to use this website. I will pause for a minute to share my website. Till then, I'll take questions if there is a confusion about anything that we spoke right now. Because yes, EE is not a 1 day or a 1 hour work. It is a work of 8 months, 9 months. If you are an EE coordinator, you might be knowing that a timeline should be of 9 months. Before I deep dive into criterias and take one by one each criterion, which is very, very important, please, if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll share my website right now. Just a second. Um,
Excuse me.
yeah,
Good morning.
good morning.
I'm Suresh Bhandoria from Indian School Wadi Kabir International Oman.
Yes.
So my question, the first one, like means how student can choose a topic, because I feel that this is the most important and the challenging task to do.
I'm going to that only because just now when I spoke about the first thing, I in my school, as an e-coordinator, I set up a timeline, and the timeline that for topic in RQ, we give 2 months to students dedicatedly for their topic in RQ. I mean, because that's the time, if your topic in RQ is not in place, especially a topic, because just now as an examiner, I have cut marks for students if their topic is not in sync with their RQ, if the research question does not have keywords which are coming from topic. So from 6, I award only 4 or 5 marks. That important the journey of topic in RQ is. What I do with the student is, if they come to meet you, is ask them to first ask them about their passion. Talk about what their passion is in the, why did they choose theater, or why did they choose visual art, or why did they choose music. There must be some thought that they have come up with that subject. If they have come up with the subject, tell them to do the mind map. Mind map really works on paper. Just tell them to come up with 5 ideas of their topic. Do a little bit basic research. This is the time when student has to read a lot. Please introduce AI tool over here. AIs are really a good thing. Ask them not to come up with a topic, but at least if a student has something in mind related to their topic, they can refine it with the help of ChatGPT or any other AI tool, for which we give a reference to in their RPPF. So just now tell students, first thing is, tell the students to come up with a topic of their choice, 5 interest area, put it on a paper and read about it. From when they will start reading about it, give them a week's time. Tell them that on all 5 things, come and read and give me 2 sources relevant to all the 5 or 3 topic, I mean the interest area do you have. When they come to you next week, these are check-in meetings which you have to have with them either fortnightly or weekly. Please arrange those meetings. I know that's the biggest challenge that schools and supervisors face, but yes, a map that helps the students. So tell them to read something on it. When they read something on it, you already have a mind map. Now tell them to filter down the topic which is more of an interest area, where a lot of resources are found and which is relevant for them to go ahead, and which they are very passionate about. So once that process and journey of topic filtration comes down, then we can start working on RQ. But I would suggest that I would recommend that the moment their subject choices are done and they start meeting supervisor, spend good amount of 15 days on topic. Let them read. Unless literature review, here literature review means that you are telling them to read on the interest area that they have come up with. If it's as simple as some artist, read about the artist. What are the different components that the artist can be covered? And one more thing, please tell them to read the guide. Do hand over the guide link to them, which I showed you right now. I mean, just a second, I'll have to wait. Uh, yes. Because if the students read this guide, it would be very, very easy for them. Tell them that just have a, suppose if we go in visual arts subject specific guide, Your IB guide is amazing. It gives you an overview over here as what is their expectation about the visual art EE. Then they also give you the choice of topic. They also speak about what to avoid. They are also asking that the student can summarize general secondary source such as universal art, history textbook, and encyclopedia. I mean, these are the topics that they should be avoiding. Topics that are likely to lead EE, that is essentially narrative and descriptive in nature. So, biographical studies of artists. So, if you have these pointers with you, it becomes very easy for you to tell them that these things are to be avoided. Please do not use them in the topic. And this is a type of homework as a supervisor you can give your students. Now, here they have also said visual art and other subject, how other subjects can be connected over here. Like essay on green architecture that focuses on technology would be better submitted under environmental system and society. So students may come up with these type of ideas also. We have to tell them to filter down, to stick to visual art, and it should be this, it should be as per the guide. Uh, I always say it's not me, it's the guide which speaks. Let's not take the onus of saying that I would like you to do this. Always use the terminology. The guide is saying this. Please come back and do this, and let's give them these examples of focus topics and research questions. So here you can, it's a task of supervisor to ensure that the question is answering the artistic sources available. So read yourself. I would say first, before you talk to students, read this guide. You have to see that they have sources, very important. Knowledge and understanding. When I'm checking the EE right now, I've been asked to guide. I mean, I have to grade them out of 4, out of 6. If 4 and 5, I have to grade them in criteria B. It's that because if they're all their sources are relevant to their topic, all the sources that they're using are not getting drifted away from their topic. So that's where, you have to be, that's where knowledge and understanding come in. So please, I know I elaborated a lot on this, but trust me, giving a lot of time on topic will make your life easy. From topic to RQ journey is not a difficult one. So yes, I will come back over here on the focus and method.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Ma'am,
sorry.
there is
Yes.
a question in the chat box
Okay.
based on this conversation.
Okay. Um, This is it Miss Vidya Shetty's question that she's asked? Not. Mr. Neerav, can you help me out because it's becoming
Yes,
little.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do we manage a primary sources for RQ is very limited, although the topic itself is uh, primary sources again not very important in visual art. Again, when I say I will not, this is not what I am talking about. This is what the guide is talking about. If you see the EE guide, if you see the choice of topic, they are talking about the visual art and other subject. If you see that there, they mention that students own art making process and resolve pieces, and sources of idea may include student visual art journal. So here the EE guide is not talking about see, can be answered using artistic source available to student. Not necessary that there is primary data. In there will be few sources. When we talk about sources, the first and foremost thing that as a supervisor we'll have to tell them that see the availability of sources. Please do not stress on primary data sources. There are EEs which we have I have guided in my school and have achieved a is completely on secondary database. So it's completely fine. If there is no primary data, please do not stress on it because the guide is not mandating like science EEs to have a primary data in any of the art topic, whether it's music, film, theater, visual art. If there is, well and good, but please do not stress on it. Otherwise, if it always stress on the interest area of the student and if this fits the guide over here. So first thing now, see, if you see the second tab over here, treatment to the topic will give you more approaches over here. What are the sources that are required over here? See, visual reference material. Very clearly, the guide is making it mandate over here. See, inclusion of appropriate visual reference material should be directly supportive and analysis to argument, whether they are images, whether they are secondary data. Nowhere are they saying that it's a mandate to have a primary data. Please use this. Rather, one thing, be very mindful about your IA and Visual Art EE or any EE for that sake. The guide is talking about, we have to, here you play a very important role in guiding. Please see that their IAs or any other, as I know, like theater has 4 to 5 components, comparative studies to visual art has 4 to 5 components which go to IB. Please be mindful that there is no overlapping of the topic of these components and your EE. Even to an extent, they say that you're mindful about the sources that they are uses. See, for example, artists and artwork selected for study within the art comparative study task would not be appropriate for the study within EE. So these are some things that we have to be mindful about EE or any visual art extended essay, but that is your role. And please keep this guide in front of you. I mean, that's the only. See here, if they say many different approaches to research question can be appropriate, please read this. It is talking about sources. It's talking about what type of sources can be used, what analysis has to be done, how primary sources can be used, and trust me, this is there in each and every treatment of the topic criterion of, I mean, in the tab of subject specific area. So please always be safe, play mindful. Do not say anything that guide does not speak about, because students are very quick in assessing their teachers and saying, oh, my supervisor told me this. And then we go back to guide and we find. So keep this thing handy. It's not me, it's the guide which is talking about. Okay, when I am talking about topic and argue, there's one more thing which I would like to share. This is, sorry, I'll just share my website. Please feel free to use this. I'm putting this in the chat. I think so many of you must be having it if you have attended my session before. I'm making another one for the new guide also. In this, I have here, if you see, then writing EE steps, research in detail, they can do a lot about research methodology if you want. There is all subject specific, all assessment criteria over here. I've tried to give different type of documents from Oxford Course Companion and many other website that I have used. You can find it in all the website that I've used in Works Cited. I'm just taking you over here, what I check as an extended essay. When we say writing EE step, topic and research question. Today, when I'm checking EE, I just want to give you a very small example of this is a PPT which I use for my student, how to narrow down from title to topic. Though this is an example which I have used from English, but just to give you I've been using this everywhere if you have attended my, but if you use Oxford Course Companion, it gives you the same type of thing for your visual art also. So just now when I'm checking my EE, I hope you can see my slide, yes. I checked this, that from the original title to an RQ, how is the journey going about? So just now somebody asked about the topic. So when you're coming up, when the student comes up with the topic, ask them the question of how, why, when, which. So just now, if I say the theme of love and relationship in 19th century, the student has to ask, what in 19th century novel? Which particular novelist am I targeting at? That would narrow down to Jane Austen, because 19th century novel is very broad. Same thing will happen in your visual art, theater, or music, or film EE. They may come up with a very broad title. We have to help them to narrow down that. Now, when they do Jane Austen, novel of Jane Austen, the other question which comes as, which novel of Jane Austen? Pride and Prejudice. Now, in that novel, this is the theme of love and relationship in Pride and Prejudice. The keyword that I pick up is relationship. What in relationship? A Pride and Prejudice, if you have read the novel, has lot of relationship, married and unmarried. This is how I have refined my title. Austen's attitude to love and marriage in Pride and Prejudice. And from there comes in what ways does Jane Austen express her attitude to the theme of love and marriage inherited in her work Pride and Prejudice? This is what exactly, as an examiner, I'm supposed to check. Do there are the keywords which are very broad in topic have been narrowed down in the in the RQ process. So just now, if you see over here, okay, I have just again going back to the same thing. Sorry, share this. Yes. Can you see this cultural influence of Pablo Picasso's work? The research question is Picasso's individual genius or cultural thief. I mean, so the approach would be what? An investigation to the extent to which selected image in Picasso's work have been appropriate for other cultural sources. So three things always be mindful about when you ask your students: topic and the approach. See here, the keywords are cultural influences on Pablo Picasso's work. Do you argue is, but I still feel that this argue can go a little more into a broader sense. This is just a Picasso, individual genius or cultural thief. This, I don't know whether it would go as in when the student starts doing an extended essay, it may change. It's good to change an RQ approach. RQ will change by the end of the E also. Don't worry on that part, but please stick to the topic. Do not allow student to change the topic after a time. I mean, give them a timeline or a deadline. If your E coordinator has already mentioned a deadline, that's what I do in my school. I give a deadline for my topic. After that, topic cannot change because then it is a disaster. It will change many things. So this is the, can you see the last one? The impact of immigration on an artist's work. What is the impact of transcultural experience on the art of art of this particular artist? So can you see the artist's work is divided into one particular art? And what would be the investigation? Its effect of migration from China to Canada on a selected artist's work. This is very important when a student comes up with a topic. Again, mind map works very well. If the student has come up with 3 topics, tell them to read do a literature review, make them think what is all available on their, tell them to at least come up with 5 sources. And then, tell them to then lower down from a topic to one topic. Again, from a topic, tell them to come up with. Now, once they choose a topic, you can actually ask chat GPT tool to give you, the chat GPT will help you out to reframe the topic to argue. If a student has a topic, they can put it into chat GPT and ask the chat GPT to give some 5 related research question, which can be taken into, they can take that and they can go ahead with again, then making come down to a one research question after discussing it with the supervisor, seeing that the sources are available. More than primary data, secondary data is one which should be available. Secondary data, again, if you see over here in my research, I have already added the primary and secondary data stuff. What is primary and secondary data? There's a Padlet over here, which you can please feel free to use. I have tried to add lot of free sources for the students over here. I've tried to add secondary sources for visual art also. So please give enough time to students to search databases, enough time for them to look into libraries, enough time and come up with different variety of sources. This is again in group criteria B, which we look into. When we look into this criteria, it speaks about, I'm taking you from criteria A and B and putting into how practically it works. When I'm going to grade this criteria, I'm going to use the band of 5 and 6 only when the knowledge and understanding is excellent. Use of terminology and concept is good. Now, when I say knowledge and understanding is excellent, how does that come from? That comes up from the methodological approach. That will come up from the subject specific guidance. That will come up from the subject specific sources that I have used. If I find that across EE, from introduction till conclusion, these are all relevantly mentioned, then yes, nowhere, and I cannot stop myself from grading a student into 5 from 6. I will jump back little back again to the criteria A. Just a second, criteria A over here, because criteria A, one more thing which is very important is what I have mentioned over here, writing EE, introduction. The best friend of criteria A is introduction. There is a document which over here, I have just compiled from different websites. It speaks about, this is what I see. When we say introduction, when a student comes to use, please say that 4 things needed in introduction. Introduction can be refined again at the end. Do not hush up with the introduction. There should be a context, outline of the argument, scope, and worthiness of the investigation. As an examiner, I don't know student. I don't know what is the student's approach. So the student has to introduce not himself or herself. The student has to introduce their topic and argue to the examiner. And how would they introduce? That's where the introduction comes in. That's where we give a little bit of context about our RQ topic. Then we give a little bit of outline where we say this essay seeks to what? Challenge or look into the scope. The essay will also simultaneously explore, because when the student is doing a research, definitely they're using sources which will not only stick to their RQ and topic, but it will also a little bit give information about something else. Like if you're looking at the social setting of a particular artist and the artwork, I mean, if you're looking at an artist and an artwork, a little bit about their social setting also would come in, little about their economic time also would come in. That has to be mentioned in scope, so the examiner has a clear view, and they will feel that they're not getting drifted away from RQ. Worthiness of investigation, very important. Why is this research question worth investigating? Why was it this research question now here? Be very mindful. Please see that the students do not introduce, oh, I like this because I was very much interested. No, the first person approach should be avoided. That comes in RPPF, not in the extended essay. So introduction is very, very important. Writing steps, I have already put in into a lot of, lot of references over here. What is a title? What is RQ? This is all from EE guide. Just making it very simple, because students, it becomes very difficult for students write different type of look into the e-guide. The new e-guide is brilliant. They have done it very well. So in my criteria A, I would just like to touch base upon, here is the document which speaks about the context worthiness. This is the document which will give you a detail about what has to be added and what not to be added in detail in the introduction, because it is always said that um, introduction is the best friend of criteria A. I have a document for research question also. There are starters of research question, how to design a research question. That's also very important. Spend little time with your students when you're writing. To what extent, what are you evaluating? When there is a starting, the argue stage from how or how successful, what, when, why. This is again from one of the website of IB, and please do this, share this with your student about how a research question has to be formulated, because research question, when it starts with to extent, will have a different conclusion. When it starts with how, will have a different conclusion. So it's very important as what research question they are looking into. Please feel free to share this website also with your students, and please feel free to use it. I was doing a subject specific guidance, but I'll add more on it. Okay, going back to our criterions, we are now jumping from criteria A. We saw about topic, RQ, introduction. Nowhere, if it's all good to go, 5 to 6 band is very well that easily attended by student. knowledge and understanding. If you are giving a very good source support, please ask students to come up with variety of sources. That's where the examiner notes come in. We are asked to grade on a higher band if the students are using book, if students are using website, and especially subjects like group 6, group 1, group 2, group 3, where variety of sources can be used. Please tell them to use variety of sources. They will get a good understanding, good brand over here. Okay, where is criteria C? Sorry. Oh, don't tell me I missed out on criteria C. Criteria C, the most important criterion. Where just a second, I think I have hidden the slide. Yes, I don't know why. Till then, if any questions, please let me know. I'll take criteria C from my website because
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah.
My question is like very simple. Like you are saying that student can't mention like he or she like to do this when they are giving their view on that essay. So how they should write? It means how they should write the sentence.
So normally, see, if you say that this research question is worth investigation because you just now I showed you the starters in the introduction. If you see this, and throughout the essay, rather than saying that first person, as per my opinion, we don't say that. As per
Okay,
the sources available, as per the
fine.
sources, so better give in a third person perspective. None of the research papers are in a first person perspective, especially EE. The reason being, IB knows that it's a 17 and an 18-year-old who is writing an extended essay. And in their opinion, if they say so, would not go well with any research because they are quite young at this stage. So always mention that as per the source, as per the document referred to, as per this particular. So you are also giving a good understanding of topic and RQ, criteria B, knowledge and understanding. So please use this words. Yes, first person very well goes in reflection. Has to be strongly used in RPPF, where they will say, I like this journey. That's where they will use that I perspective, not in the written extended essay.
Means whatever they are saying, they should be having a proof of that or
Yes,
evidence of
that's
that.
where I'm coming to criteria C. When we say critical thinking, when we say analysis, discussion, they are having a research, they are analyzing the research and discussing the research and not their perspective.
Yeah,
So
fine.
that's
Thank you.
where a big loss for student also comes in, which unfortunately, criteria C is one such critical thinking criteria. Students tend to lose a lot. If you see the criteria thinking, it says that this is to be, see, it says that evaluations are based on narrative should be avoided. Imparting new information in your final concluding evaluation should be avoided. So these are something that, very clearly they are saying that evaluation that are based on narratives and descriptive account, mostly students do that, and that's where the loss of criterions come in. Criteria C is one criteria, is one criteria which is a dangerous criteria, as we say, because I think I've hidden this. Let me unhide this and skip the slide. Yes, sorry. I don't know why it was hidden. So you can use just a second. Yes. Yeah. Sorry for this. I don't know why this is all hidden, but yeah. This was actually I'll just, yeah. This is three things that we look into: appropriate and relevant selection and application of sources and resources. We spoke about criteria B. Now criteria C, sources, analysis and discussion should be laid to the research question. Like, this is very important. Analysis in depth. You have to analyze all the research and should be supported by good evidence and sources. An application to the real life context can be related. So when we see this, let's go to the IB's website. Again, as I said, it's always that we look into E. Now here, a very interpretation of E assessment criteria is given over here very nicely. I've taken everything from here. If you see this strand, they say analyze and discuss and evaluate. This is what they are making a big change in the new guide. They're breaking this criteria into two because they felt that yes, criteria C is difficult to deal with. So students who are familiar with scholarly writing in visual art will be aware of the need of clarity and coherence. Student must be aware of the need to give their essay the backbone of developing argument that is clearly related to RQ. They should not drift away from it. A clear and logical argument is often achieved by making consistent references to the research question. Here, the citation plays very, very important role because at every point where there is an argument, where they are referring a source, an in-text citation has to be given. Personal view, while they may be quite common in visual art, need to be supported by reasoned argument, often with the references to images, interview if with the artist, site visit, as well as carefully evaluated written material. This is from the guide. Can you see this? This is very important for a student. If there is a personal view given, there has to be supported with a reasoned argument. While some biographical information may help in advance to argument, the simple recounting of an artist's life may not always be helpful. It's important for students to evaluate their own research, particularly in terms of unresolved issues, and further research question may be generated by their study. So we have to use this. This is for visual art. Same thing is there for theater. Same thing is for music. Please interpret this criterions with students. Sit down with them. Talk to them about this. As an e-coordinator, I actually do a workshop with students and make them aware of the criterions, what IB is talking about. Once they are very much aware about this guide, it becomes very, very clear. So criteria C again over here. I have lot of documents added over here. How does good critical thinking look like? How to reflect on a critical thinking? This is not a one day's job. I mean, student will think critically if it is from beginning. We cannot teach them critical thinking only during the EE process. But here, self-check, there is one very good document which I came across, how to evaluate your writing for critical thinking. How do you evaluate this? So this is what these documents I tried to bring in with student, but trust me, it's a struggle to bring critical thinking to students. I'm just stop staring over here because I want to ask this question to you. I ask the students, how do you bring in an argument in an E? We always say an extended essay is an argumentative piece. As in supervisor or a coordinator, how do I recommend student to get in an argument? If any one of you can answer over here. When does an argument occur? I give a simple example to student. When do you argue?
Means when they are having some of the knowledge of regarding that topic. If they are not having any knowledge regarding the topic, I don't think so the argue can come.
When somebody said yes, we're compare and contrast.
Yeah.
If there are two people, argument will begin when? This is a simple example I give my students. If there are two people who have an argument or a debate or a discussion, when would the argument begin?
When they are having a different view about
View
this.
of opinion. So exactly. Argument would come in when there are different perspective, when they have different view. So this has to come into the extended essay by different sources. So do not ask your student to search such sources also, which has a different perspective on a topic. Do not always go with a source which is just favoring the topic and argue. But yes, there are sources which are saying, which may have a negative variation to the topic and argue. They can bring that very well and it comes in very well, you know, when they can say that I came across this source, but really it was biased towards the topic. The author or the author of the source or the topic did not go well. That thing, if they bring in their extended essay, it really works well. So please get that. My simple logic to student, an argument begins when two people have different perspective. If people are agreeing to each other, there's no argument. So getting into an argument in an extended essay is getting in different perspectives, getting in different ideas, getting in different approaches. So first thing from day one, when you finalize their title and topic, I tell them to make an annotated bibliography. I mean, make a document which will have a link and a little bit of write up about where what that website or a book or a theater, if they have visited a theater or if they have visited a museum, they have looked into, and add the date when they have access. So this document will work as a guiding document throughout the extended essay. It will also work as a document for citation, in-text citation and work cited. Please do that. From day one, tell your students to cite it. Use any citation machine from MyBib to EasyBib. Store the citations over there. And there is something called an EE now as RRS, Research, Reflection and Planning Space, where they can just upload all their research. Please tell them to do that, because that will help you also. And that will help everyone. I mean, that's where if there is a problem coming in as for the integrity, it will help. So I know we are constrained of time now. Very less time is left. I will really look into criteria D. We do not have to go into depth, because this IB looks into understanding that student has to have this done very well. Introduction, main body, title page, conclusion. Simple as that. Students forget to write their page numbers. Marks are cut. Topic to RQ, first page, question mark. Research question has a question mark. Word count, proper subject. In the content page, I have checked in EE where the supervisor, like the main examiner, comments on saying that the content page marks are not on the right hand side. So these minute things are looked into the criteria D. So please see that, and references, all the biographies, bibliographies, especially your illustrated material. All your group 6 has lot of illustrated material. They should be labeled as figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. If they have clicked a picture, they should mention below image clicked by myself. Please see that this is there. There are proper headings and subheadings. EE should have, this is how we look into the E's and criterias. Okay, I'm not going to go into the, I've given all the examples over here. This is the PPT that this is from, if if our journal foundation is fine with it, you can, I'm fine to share this PPT. I've given for the visual art over here. So yes, we come to the engagement. First reflection, second reflection, third reflection. First reflection is always a dialogue between student and supervisor on the very initial exploration. Please ask them to, even e-website is giving a lovely touch base on this particular thing. You will find a lovely whole tab on the criteria over here. If you see, not in a subject specific guidance, but if you go to the guide part and introducing student research and writing process, they have really given a good amount of, I mean, how to develop an RQ, sample RQ, extended essay. So you just keep them, students, see here, they've given first formal reflections. I've taken this from here only. They've given pointers. What are they looking for in the first reflection? What are they? So first, see, if you see the first reflection comes in when they're doing topic RQ. So that time they are just going to write what are topic in RQ. Second reflection comes in during draft. Third reflection comes after Viva worship. On my website, I have added questions. Please feel free to use. This is from Oxford Course Companion. Each three reflection, I tell students to refer to this three type of questions. They can just formulate it and write down. So these are the questions which they can look after the reflection. So this is how EE in reflection, and very important. Again, IB as an examiner, they ask us to see the reflections and see that they are, if there is a personal connect seen over here, complete 6 marks are avoided. Now, this is about commenting on the draft version of extended essay. This is again in your IB, this IB website has it. It is for y'all. It is for supervisors. It is asking us to how to comment on the draft. Here it comes in the supervision process. Here it's about all how the supervisor can support the extended essay. So please take a look at this complete point over here. It allows you to ask, again, these are questions for you. If not, in my website, I have added here for supervisors also. So there are comments, I mean, there are comments being added as what is to be when the draft comes, because draft is the only time that you're going to write something on their extended essay. Otherwise, you're not going to give anything written over there. So please just don't say that your format is not good, this is not good. Give a comment specifically that use this particular source over here. Use this, see that your topic is matching RQ. Is your RQ going for a change? What type of sources have you used? Have you discussed your sources? Give such type of comment which will help students. And lastly, citation and referencing. I'm not going to go into it. But again, as I always share this example, we have lost a diploma in my previous school when I just took as an EE coordinator. The year before that, one of a student lost a diploma because one quotation in theater EE was not given in text citation. And the examiner put that EE into a plagiarized condition because it was a quote which was not given in text citation. So again, from examiner to examiner, it will depend. If the examiners are really very strict and very particular, chances that student, and we really don't want, I always tell student that plagiarized condition is worse than a failing condition, because coming under a plagiarized condition means that it is a question mark to the supervisor, it is question mark to the coordinator, it's a question mark to the school, because IB is not going to penalize. IB is not going to question student. Student is last. It's going to question us first. What, as a supervisor, how come you were not mindful? So to safeguard that, start using RRS. Tell students to upload all their work in that so that you have that particular safeguarding thing. That's it in a very short but very quick way. Please feel free to use my website. Please feel free to connect with me at any point of time. And that's it. Thank you so much. I hope I did justice in a short time. Can keep it open for questions now. Yeah.
There are just last few minutes left, and if anyone has any burning questions that we can take up one or two.
Because just now we're just starting with our grade 11s, and I mean, they are in a process of, I think, topic RQ now. So,
Yeah.
or if anybody would like to share any of their experiences, it should be both the ways. Because it's all for students, I believe. And I mean, our guidance will help students go a long way. Students are don't be, please, that's a request as an E coordinator and an examiner. I know we all are experienced supervisor, but in our experience, we forget that our students are not an experienced student. For them, it's a first time. Please don't tell them that go and come up with a topic. Acha, this topic is not good. Go back, guide them. How to come up with a topic, how to come up from a topic to an RQ. Spend that good time on that. Tell them where argument comes in. Please do not assume that they know, however the smart the student is. Trust me, in my experience of now 15 years in IB, I have seen that supervisors have struggled if one session is done on topic in RQ. If I do even 1 hour session and tell them that come up with one topic to an RQ, they are not able to. So please do not expect a 17 and an 18-year-old to come up with that. Your hand holding will go a long way. I mean, really, it will go a long way. So spend a good amount of time with them, whether you are an EE coordinator or a supervisor. That initial phase, if you'll spend, your life is easy.
I
That's
think
it.
that's so rightly said, Ms. Kuntal, and thank you so much for such an insightful session. I'm sure there's a lot of information available on the IB website and that teachers can go through. However, how have you've helped us navigating through it, understanding from your experiences something that has added so much of value to our learning today. And I'm sure all the participants, if they can switch on cameras and say hello to us, would they would agree to us.
Richard, I'm
And
just seeing one comment where there's somebody said that please share examples of EE. Sorry, EE exemplars are shared on the EE website. Apart from them, we cannot ask school because that's a copyright issue with IB. IB does not allow to share an exemplar within 1 year's time. You will have to ask a student consent also within your school. If you're sharing an example, please take in written from a student, take an email saying, can I share an exemplar, your EE, with the other group of students? Please do not, let's be very, very mindful about the copyright policy of IB over here. Because this work is, author is a student, publisher is an IB, because it's going to IB. So unless and until there is a student consent, we cannot share good exemplars within our school also. Please be mindful of that. Yeah.
Right. Thanks for sharing that. For the audience, if you're looking forward to any more guidance about extended essay in Group 6, please feel free to connect with us on our WhatsApp groups or on our email ID. And we are planning to organize a detailed workshop around it as well. And in fact, once the new guide and the details come in, more clarity comes in, we shall organize sessions around that as well. And I would like to thank everyone for being wonderful audience. Your participation is really valuable. We shall be in touch. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you, Ms. Kuntal, for all your
Thank
efforts this
much.
week.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting all of you. And I take a leave. Thank you.
Thank you.